Welcome back. Well, Mr. Price has reported positive annual earnings with revenue exceeding 40 billion rand for the first time and achieving a record operating profit of 5.8 billion rand. Mr. Price remains optimistic and eager in expanding its market reach. This comes as the group plans to open about 200 new stores. Senior technical analyst at the Money Hub, Moxima Gama, joins us now for further analysis. Thank you so much for your time, Moxima. There's a common thread that I saw in the retail results today, both from TFG and Mr. Price, that there's an ascending slope in the performance from the first to the second half of the year. Would you say that this was a tale of two halves?
It looks from what they're saying, and I think the reason why there's probably such a vast difference is they're not just dealing with the first half. In the first half, there was a lot of lessons that were dealt or learned from after the pandemic. I mean, a lot of these retail shares plummeted just in share price as well as sales.
Yeah.
And so it was a lot of a cleanup from or learning lessons from there that have now translated to what's happening in the second half. And as you mentioned, exceeding the 40 billion for the first time is a big deal for a company like that.
Yeah.
And that's just to show that whatever that they were doing previously and positioning themselves, particularly Mr. Price, has been after the pandemic, has been positioning itself to be an outperformer in the sector.
Yeah.
And the acquisitions then were a bit sticky, but it seems whatever's in the umbrella, all the acquisitions that are put from your Yappy Chef to, the Miladies, all of that being in the umbrella is now starting to pull through for them, and they can pat themselves on the back for this.
This is such an interesting concept that you bring to the fore, that we saw a cleanup after the pandemic. And really that was it, because of just Mr. Price and TFG and all these retailers. They were really just trying to make their businesses resilient, trying to acquire all these companies. And I think it's actually maybe for the first time where we feel like things are actually quite stable and they can actually sit in their achievements and actually count their achievements from that cleanup. What's interesting is that even in the challenging first half, the CEO actually said that Mr. Price still gained market share at the same level as during the improved economic conditions in the second half. Is this really just a company for every season?
It seems so, but you must remember with Mr. Price, I always see them as an in-betweener. And with the interest rates that had gone up previously, that obviously then shifted a lot of low-income people to start buying, a lot of the middle class to start buying low-income type of, or start buying from shops that offer that. And they are able to do that. They're able to, what I call it, they're very a value retailer, which means they service then the price sensitive. And I think they're able to do that in whatever economic condition. And when interest rates were up, when pockets were pinched, you were able to still get something from Mr. Price. And now with the interest rates coming down, you're still able to get him possibly even more. So they're very well positioned in that way, with very strong financial discipline that allows them to be able to play around like that.
Yeah. It's also quite fascinating to note that they are the in-betweener, because you're right. It kind of is for everybody. And even when people decide that they want to trade down, they'll go to Mr. Price.
You know what I'm saying? And they're also it's also just not just clothing, it's not apparel. They've gotten into homeware, they've gotten into sportswear, financial and, telecoms.
Yeah.
So it seems to be the model that most of the financial, or rather the retail shares, or not shares, rather the sector is heading to, but they seem to be doing pretty well in that sense of, as you said, taking care of both sides of the pendulum.
And it's actually quite interesting, because when I decided to open a Mr. Price account, it was not for clothing. It was actually for homeware. So really, really great that they are able to service, I guess, kind of every area of your life.
Right.
Let's talk about the actual share, because I noticed that as much as they were talking about reaching record after record in revenue and operating profit and all these financial metrics, the share price didn't really move much. It was slightly down, but I guess relatively flat. I know previously there are some people that have said that maybe Mr. Price is expensive, it looks full. What's your kind of a technical reading of the shares at this point?
So it's been, one thing that we need to understand is that after 2023, that share price went up by about 140%. Excuse me.
Yo.
So, and we've seen it now pull back to about 38%. Which
Okay.
is because it had reached its all-time high. And in technicals, once it does that, it could either plateau on the top or just pull back as much as it did.
Yes.
So it's gone back into that bullish area, which then means that this is an opportune time to get in. And now you're having both the fundamentals and the technicals, the marriage being really sound. It is a time to get in. But there's actually no but with Mr. Price at this point. It's gone through the waves, the ebbs and flows of economic, the ebbs and flows in the economy, and they seem to now be pulling through. Just as I said, not just on a fundamental basis, but also a technical basis, which with potential upside to all-time highs at this point in time. I mean, I see at this, it's now trading at around 244.
Yeah.
It's broken out of its previous bear trend. Now, from the pattern it's been forming, it could go up from what I'm seeing another 55% from current levels, which puts Mr. Price roughly at about 370. So there is upside, a lot of upside for that, and it is coinciding with what the financials are saying.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time and your technical analysis there. Pretty interesting to be getting it both from the fundamental point of view and also from the technicals. Appreciate the time, Moxima. That was Senior Technical Analyst at the Money Hub, Moxima Gama.